Hey everyone, welcome back to another edition of Mosques Sports. It's your boy Frankie Rios on my own this time. Here is a platform where I'm able to sit down with coaches, athletes, and figures of the sports world in the southern New Mexico area. And today I got you guys a really, really awesome conversation. This is a ladies basketball legend in the Las Cruces area and the state of New Mexico, really. He has been coaching. He's now in his 17th year. He was the head coach for the Lady Bulldogs at Las Cruces High School for 14 years, where he tallied 267 wins. And just last year, he accomplished his 300th win of his career. A wonderful man. He has with the Las Cruces Bulldogs, he went to the state tournament 13 of those years. He has four Final Four appearances. He's been Coach of the Year five times now: 2006, 2007, 2010, 2015, and most recently with the Centennial Hawks in 2013. He has also been participating in the development of New Mexico athletics in the ladies basketball area for now 14 years. He is presenting big time hoops. So I would like to present to you guys in a conversation I'm sitting down with here with the great, the legend, Mr. Coach Abney. How you doing, man?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I don't know about legend. That's a little bit of a stretch right there, but I appreciate you having me, Frankie. Yeah, that was a lot
I
of
had
fun
to.
right there.
Yeah, you like that?
That was
I
fun.
had to go and dig in a little bit, and
Yeah.
I had to let them know who you are. That's my favorite part of all the guys that I
Okay.
bring in. It just letting them know and put some respect on your name is what I always say. And Coach, you've been someone that we've been following, whether in the campus sports world with A Mountain Echo. You were one of the first to say, "Hey, we love what you're doing, and we really appreciate that." And so, as we continue to learn more about you, and as I did, I have some questions for you. I'm excited to learn a little bit more about your why, but most importantly, what I think you're driving the most impact for is your big time hoops showcase. That is now you've just posted it. Kids can now register. You've emailed coaches, all that good stuff, right? And so it's go time for you. All that being said, you're also in the middle of a basketball season. So how are you feeling?
Yeah, it's always a challenge, finding a balance. Obviously my priority is my current team. But I spend a lot of time. I'm partially retired, so I'm able to, still put in some work with big time hoops and get things off the ground and still be able to focus on my basketball team.
That's awesome. Well, good luck to you as you're in the middle of district. Your ladies look great. Excited for you guys to continue there. But I want to do a little bit more. I want to back up a little bit here. Uh, as I mentioned, last year you accomplished your 300th win, right? Now you're maybe at what, 316 or whatever. Who's counting, right?
Yeah, exactly,
Well,
right? They
well,
after a while they all just look the same.
we'll let you know when you hit 14. It's coming soon, folks. But when you hear 14 wins and people are hearing the success of all these coaches, right? Um, one thing that I'm always interested in is that it's a grind. Winning these games continuously, it's consistency, and I want to know what's that part of what was the journey like getting to 300, uh, starting at in was it 2005, right? So
2000,
what is your journey?
2005, yeah. Yeah, that was win number one was in 2005, and never, when you're going through this process, do you even think about 300, much less 200, even 100. You're just trying to get by game to game, season by season. The 300 wins is a really nice accomplishment. It just proves that I've had really good assistant coaches and I've had, excuse me, really good players. And so, it's not a reflection of me, it's a reflection of my programs, my teams, and my players and staff. So I've been real fortunate to have good, surrounded by good people and good players. But 2005, you don't think that you're going to be doing this, 20 years later. And
Right.
It is a grind, but it's something I've always loved doing, and have a deep passion for. That passion still burns to this day. Once that goes away, then it's time to stop doing what I'm doing. And when I took that first time off, when I retired, I knew I'd come back. I didn't know in what capacity. I certainly didn't think it would be another job in Las Cruces. I took time off to watch Sarah play college basketball, so it's just weird how you know the journey takes you places that you didn't think you were going to go.
Yeah, it slowly, it just, the story writes itself, right? And you just kind of continue to show up and coach and continue to win. And so I want to applaud you there. I went to school at Las Cruces High School. We never crossed paths. Basketball was never my forte, so I'd always just see you off to the side. But at what
Hopefully, you
point?
went to some games.
Maybe a couple.
Oh, dude.
I
Okay.
think I remember. I think I remember the Cruces Oñate at the time game where Oñate just held the ball the entire game. I think it was a district championship or at some point, but I just remember sitting there being like, "Is there no shot clock?" That
Yeah.
was my thought of
Yeah.
what basketball was. That was so frustrating to
Yeah.
me. Like, come on, man,
Yeah.
just holding it. But
Well,
at
coaches
what?
coaches come up with different things that they feel they need to win a game, so you
Right,
can't fault coaches for what they do.
right, right. Um, I think Oregon Mountain ended up winning the game, and it was like 20-16 or something. So you can imagine if that was
That
my
wasn't
first
my
time.
team. We
It
never
wasn't.
had scores like that. It had to be before I got there because there was no way that was going to happen.
Yeah, no, it was. It was. I think it was a boys' game, and they just held the ball,
Okay, I
so
was gonna
it was
say, I
numbers.
okay,
Hmm.
yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I thought you were talking about my girls' teams. I'm
No,
like,
no, no,
no,
no,
that's
no, no,
no,
no,
we're gonna go get you. Yeah.
no. It was the boys. They held it forever. I graduated
Yes.
in 2013, so that gives you an idea.
Okay.
Yep. Hmm.
Yeah. 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 By knowing that was, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. But I'm curious to know, you started coaching. I did learn that you want to be a baseball coach first, and then
I
basketball
did.
just kind of presented itself to you, right? At what point did you realize, hey, I want to do a showcase. I need to do more, right? So, were when the showcase presented itself, was it an idea that you had? Where did that come from?
So, my mentor, if you will, John Paul Armijo. I'm from Las Vegas, New Mexico,
Hmm.
and I played at Robertson. And the main reason why I became a coach was my high school coach, John Paul Armijo. He was the assistant in football, basketball, and baseball. I taught PE classes with him when I was a senior in high school, and he was my guy. And so that's the reason why I became a coach. Well, he had a
Hmm.
daughter, Jessica Armijo, who was really, really good, and she played at Robertson High School. I can remember at Picacho Middle School, they were here for a team camp, and I'm, telling them how good Jessica is, and she needs to get some opportunity. I said, you need to send her to a showcase, and so he asked me, well, why don't you run one? And I was like, okay, that's a good idea. And so I just did tons of research, and I found some pamphlets that I saved. I used to be a pack rat and collect everything, but I remember finding a flyer from Adidas, the Pump Brothers, and I just kind of emulated their brochure, and that's what kind of got it going, was all because of John Palermo and his daughter Jessica, who was really, really good. And
Hmm.
she's not going to get seen in Las Vegas, New Mexico. And college coaches really don't recruit the state, even to this day. The last year, I had Joy Hunt, who wound up playing. She's at Pima right now. She was seen one time out of all of our games. I think geographically it's hard for coaches to get to New Mexico. So I thought, why not bring a showcase, try and bring college coaches here. And so Jessica was the main reason why I got it going. And the first one was I believe in 2003. That was the first showcase, and man, it was tough because there was no social media. Marketing was hard. People didn't know who I was. As far as college coaches, I'm reaching out to college coaches. I'm contacting high school coaches to bring their players. And the issue that I ran into was the high school coaches or the players were asking, well, what college coaches are going to be there? And then the college,
Hmm.
and then if you flip it the other way, nobody knew each other if it was going to work. So that
Right.
first year, I think I had 5 college coaches and maybe 70 players, but that kind of got my foot in the door and kind of got the process started.
So in
So
2003,
it was definitely a grind back in 2003.
yeah. What year leading up to the years, was there a year that things just kind of clicked, or was it a slow progression? Was there a moment that said, okay,
It was
cool,
probably
we did
4 years later. It's probably about 4 years after, you build that reputation, um, to where college coaches know there's going to be good talent, and parents and the high school kids know there's going to be some college coaches. How many kids play in front of a college coach this year? So even if they
right?
come to showcase, and let's just say there's three coaches, that's three more than they might have played in during their high school season. And travel ball wasn't as big as it is now, and so you really needed to take advantage of a showcase. And so that's kind of it just slowly grew. And I took a pause when I became the head coach, because I wasn't a head coach when I started the showcase.
Okay.
And I took a pause because it just became really overwhelming to do both. And so I took a pause from it, and then I missed it, and then I started it up again, and then COVID hit. And so this is actually year number 5 coming back. And Frankie, it's so much easier to do now because you can do everything on social media. I don't
Hmm.
send out brochures. I remember I used to mail out brochures and write letters to coaches back in the day, type them up, print them out on the computer, and put them in the mail. It's just crazy how times have changed over the 20 years that I've been doing the showcase.
Right. And I don't want to change the subject, but I remember last year, thanks to you, you invited us and we were able to do conversations with the girls who were at the showcase. But I also spoke to your daughter, Sarah. An accomplishment that she just accomplished, I noticed, is that she just did the Nike Tournament of Champions. So I'm sure
Yeah,
within all of that, she was helping you. And so to see how, like, kind of growing what you did, and then also now seeing a little bit of a product of you, but also of the showcase where she's she was in a startup. You need that mental fortitude to be able
yeah.
to do those things now. um, so I personally did not know that big time hoops came before your coaching career. I thought it was the other way around.
Yeah, no, it was 2003. And I wasn't a head coach until 2005. So yeah, I did
Okay.
two years of the
Yeah.
showcase. I was coaching middle school at
Nice.
Camino Real as a middle school coach. And just started the showcase and built it. And then took a chance when I applied for that Cruce's job in 2005. And I thought I want to be able to do both. And in fact, I did a boys showcase for 3 years. I'm not sure if you're aware of that. So I was a head coach. I did a girls showcase, a boys showcase, and I about died. It was so hard, especially
Yeah.
I don't have all the social media now. So it was. I think that was a big reason why I kind of took a step back from all of it, because it was difficult doing both. And the boys was really successful as well, but man, it was a lot of work, and there weren't enough hours in the day. And so kind of that's where I took a step back for a few years.
That's awesome. I learned something every day. But Coach, I want to give you an opportunity here. I pulled it up and you were chatting. Um, Here are some of the statistics that you have. You were mentioning to me that 2026, that's still going up, right? And that
That
just
is going up.
shows,
Yeah, these are so there's three, and actually there's a fourth one. Victoria Duran out of Eastwood committed to Cochise. So four have committed early. So that's why it's deceiving that number's low. Well, that's because we haven't had our 2026 showcase. But there's four girls that have committed early. So we're over 200 overall. Frankie, this is just since I brought the showcase back 4 years ago. So you look at the
right?
numbers, and they're well over 100. And I think I had 160 in the previous 8 or 9 before that. I have the statistics somewhere. It kind of just blows my mind, how this has helped New Mexico and El Paso.
Yeah, and Arizona. I saw there were some girls that had come in from the Tucson area as well.
Yeah,
And so this is a three-state represented showcase, right? And so
yeah,
um,
yeah,
the girls get to compete against one another, but at the same time also learn and pick a scouts brain. I think you had Molly Kaiser last year on there, and that was awesome. Um, has that grown? Have you always had coaches or players, or who do you, what's your criteria to be a guest or to speak about? I know Molly Kaiser spoke about recruitment, also just preparation for the game. What else is there available at the showcase?
So what it is every Friday night we have a great 3-point shooting competition. It's a great way to kick off the weekend. So after the 3-point, they practice with their team with their assigned coaches, and then after that, there's a brief NCAA seminar. So that's the one that I rotate every year. Last year, Molly Kaiser was a guest speaker. A few years ago, I did a seminar myself on huddle highlights because a lot of players love to send out highlights, and I think it's really important they understand the process of the highlights. For example, don't show a made layup. Anybody can make a layup. So we want to make sure that it's a maybe an and one layup that's or a reverse move, just something that's considered a highlight. And
Right.
so I thought it was important to spend 25 minutes on how to do a highlight film. The year before, I had I usually get some representatives from NMSU. Braun Cartwright, the AD at NMSU, was my first speaker back in 2003. He was the
Wow.
compliance officer. So Braun and I go back 20 years. He would come and speak, and so he talks about the clearinghouse, the NCAA eligibility, what classes you need to take. So every year I try and mix it up because a lot of times I have the same kids that come, for tour, maybe when they're sophomores, juniors, and seniors, that I don't want them to hear the same thing. So last year I was very fortunate to get Molly, and Molly was a great speaker. She had great advice, and I invite the parents. The parents end up asking a lot of the questions, and
Right.
Molly was a great guest speaker. So I just try and mix up each year, but it's important that that it's just not about, you know, playing in front of player and coaches, that, let's get something else out of it, especially if you're a freshman or sophomore and you're not really recruited yet, but let's play against good competition, but also, if you're, starting your huddle highlights, let's, here's 9 do's and don'ts. Don't use foul language in your music. Don't highlight a free throw. Coaches can look on max preps and see your free throw percentage. Don't put that in there. You know. Um, so there's just opportunities for them to get something out of it every time.
You mentioned that you have freshmen, you have sophomore. There is a criteria for your showcase. It, at
Yeah.
some level, is it sophomores and below that need to be recommended by their coach? What's that process like for anyone who wants to sign up?
So you have to be a straight varsity player. Floaters are considered kids that play both JV and varsity. So and it's tough because you might have a kid in a 5A program that plays JV and varsity, but if they were in a 2A program, they might be their best player. So you have to allow some leniency for players like that. So that's why I always say, if a coach calls and recommends, hey coach, I have this freshman. They're JV right now, but this kid's really good. They're going to be special. I had too many guards. There's, I we're open to allowing people to play, but we just don't, it's the talent has gotten so good, we just can't have a JV kid coming in to, play in a showcase because there's college coaches there, and college coaches want to see the best in the area. And that was one of the biggest compliments I've gotten the last 2 years, because I kind of did away with, no JV kids, no floaters. So the talent level went up, and that they noticed immediately the following year, like, man, the talent level this year's so much better. And I explained why, and they agreed. They love. There's always a top echelon of players, and then there's some that really don't belong there. We didn't have that last year. The last 2 years, everybody that was there was really, they were really good players. Now, are they all college players? No, but there's opportunities maybe down the line if they're sophomores, juniors, that they see the process. Coaches maybe get an early look at them, but there's going to be opportunities for the underclassmen. But I think by not allowing the floaters, it really took the showcase to a higher level.
Sorry, everyone. Had to pause and reset there. but we are getting back to it. And that there was a lot of energy being brought by the girls and it was very competitive. You have the coaches who um, are coming in from different areas, right? And so you do a good job of recruiting coaches that are coaching these girls
Yeah.
for the Saturday all day, um, essentially a little round robin, right? And then there's a champion at the end of it. Um, all of that gives confidence to the girls, and then they're getting the education. I always have this theory about kids that get recruited who go on and they play at JUCO or they do these smaller schools of, well, why not the Las Cruces girls or the boys, right? Is there a level of confidence that you need? Are you a believer that if you know what you're doing and you know how to put yourself out there, that you're able to get recruited and coaches will see you a little bit more? Is there a little bit of a um I mean, it's a showcase, right? And so you want to show who you are. If you do
Yeah.
that more effectively, even though your ability isn't as high, you might get looked at and get a free education out of it, right? Are you a believer in that? What's your stance there on the recruiting
Yeah,
process?
I mean, at these showcases, you have to go in with confidence, and I get a lot of feedback from parents, or even before the showcase, I'm like, they're real nervous, they scared, they don't want to come, they don't want to sign up, or talking to their high school coaches that, this kid needs to be there, she needs more confidence, she needs to know that she could play, and that's what the showcase does as well. That, high school coaches notice big time. They go play at an event like this and they hang, they do really well, and then they go back and they're just a different player because they realize I can compete with the best in New Mexico or El Paso. They realize they have that confidence that I'm pretty good. And so I've seen that with a lot of my players, whether it was at Las Cruces High or at Centennial. I've seen it with my own players that, they don't have that confidence, but they go play and have a really good weekend, and you just see an elevation in their confidence the rest of the off season. So that's pretty cool, especially when I hear that from other coaches. When I see them during the summer when we're doing our summer camps, I'll say, there's a girl from Los Lunas, Kayla Finley, who last year as a freshman was really good, and now as a sophomore, she was MVP at the hoopla. She's really
Hmm.
good, and you could just see that confidence grow over the weekend. I think she averaged like 8 or 9 as a freshman last year at the showcase, and again, freshmen have to be invited. So, we played against her. I called Coach V Hill and said, "Hey, you need to get this girl to the showcase." So that was her invitation, and man, she played really well, and she made college player somewhere. She's really good.
So you're recruiting out there as your coach, and you're like, okay, you need to. Are you doing
Well,
that? Are
yeah,
you
I mean,
putting that
when
in the back of your
when you
mind?
when you're when you're playing somebody and they're doing really well against you, after the game, I just make a mental note that, and then I'm friends with, probably 90% of the coaches in New Mexico. So, it's just one of those that, when it's time to get the showcase going, reaching out and say, hey, you need to get so and so to the showcase, and I'm trying, coach, I'm trying, or yeah, they know or they can't, and so yeah, I'm pretty fortunate that way where I can kind of assess the talent without, trying to do it on purpose. It's just kids that I
Right.
play, or if we go to a tournament, we play in a league in El Paso, so I see the El Paso kids. So I'm able to kind of look out for players for the event.
I just think that makes big time hoops better, right? Because you're not just someone who's just assessing stats. You're out there trying to beat these girls,
Yeah,
and they're
yeah,
and you actually can see, okay, I know what my girls can do, and she's doing this to us, and you're a in seat scout, right? And so I think that
yeah.
just makes your credibility to what big time hoops can provide for kids even stronger, right? I want to flip it onto the other side. Uh,
Okay.
I imagine you get girls who think they're great and walk into either a practice or the showcase, and um, they're missing something. Is it a common thing to see that where girls will come in and say, "Hey, you need to work on some things"? How do you assess that? How do you approach that when maybe a girl is really good, but they need to understand that they can be better, right? And so
Yeah.
how as a mentor, as a coach, and as an organizer of the Showtime Hoops. How do you approach that situation?
Well, obviously the kids sign up and, they have a good amount of confidence in themselves, and also that they do want to play at the next level. So coming to the showcase, there's kids that get humbled. You know, they might average, 17 a game in high school. They come to the showcase and only average 3 a game. So it's a self check. Like, okay, I gotta improve in some areas. How do you go from averaging 17 in high school and then you go play against the best? And a lot of it's different because sets aren't being run for you. There's a lot of variables to that. But a kid can walk out of there thinking, man, I got a lot of work to do. I'm not as good as I thought I was. And so, I think it's good in that area too. Not only are you getting recruited, but you're also getting an idea of strengths and weaknesses when you're playing against the best for sure.
Yeah, I can just imagine you walk into a gym where, okay, there's a level ground here where if there's a freshman or a sophomore, they've been invited by their coaches, and everyone else has been developing their game, and you kind of get hit in the mouth of like, whoa. I mean, that's where your game elevates, right? Because now you either rise to the occasion or you don't, right? So
Yeah.
another great
And,
reason.
and it goes on the opposite end too. There's a kid from Hobbs, Addie Everhart. Unfortunately, she tore her ACL this summer, wasn't able to play, but she was a reserve last year on Hobbs's team. Hobbs had 5 kids playing college, 5 seniors. A lot of them came to the showcase. Well, I had heard about Addie, so I invited Addie, and she showed up, and she was the leading freshman scorer. She averaged double figures, and this is a kid who was a role player for Hobbs. So you get a kid like that who maybe thinks she isn't as good as she is, and then you come to the showcase as a freshman and scoring double figures. So it has that opposite effect where she walked out of there probably thinking, "Man, I'm pretty good," and she is. Hopefully she'll be back and bounce back next year because she's a nice player, but you could just see her confidence as a freshman coming from Hobbs. She did a great job last year.
Huh. I'll have to keep an eye out on her, but she didn't play this year, I'm assuming.
No, she
Okay.
hurt her knee in the summer and hasn't been able to play. But man, she's a sniper. She could shoot the ball really well, and Hobbs is ranked number one. Without her, I mean, with her,
Wow.
it'd be even more scary. Yeah.
Wow. Um, just to wrap it up here, Coach. One more question. Um, really wanting to know what your advice is for a freshman who says, "Hey, I want to play at the next level, or I want varsity now, even." Right? Anyone who comes in with high hopes at a young age, what advice do you give them as they approach their high school career?
I think their work ethic has to match their dreams or their goals. Um, everybody sees all the signings, the social media, the graphics, and everybody loves that. But are they willing to put the time in? So if you're wanting to play at the next level, and you want to be that kind of player, what are you doing to do that? What are you doing on your own? Are you getting up 300-400 shots a day in the summer? Are you spending more time on TikTok than in the gym? And so to me, my biggest advice is, your work ethic has to match your dreams. Everybody can say they want to play at the next level, but it takes a special player. A lot of kids have some natural ability, but when you get to that next level, everybody has that natural ability. What are you going to do that's going to separate you at a showcase? What are you going to do that's going to separate you from a teammate to make varsity or to get that playing time on in the varsity? And so, work ethic is huge. You have to be able to put that time in every day, not every day, I'm not a huge fan of the term the grind, no days off. I don't like that. You got to rest your body, you got to rest your mind. But you can still work hard, 5 days out of the week to get where you need to go. Cause it's, everybody's fighting for that same scholarship, and there's players all over the state. There's players all over the country that are, have the same goals as you do. So what are you doing to separate yourself?
I like that. I like that answer a lot. Well, let's get some logistics down on the Big Time Showcase. It's going to be March 27 and 28. Registration, like I said, is open and available
No, not
now.
yet.
Okay. Okay.
No, registration doesn't open until mid to late February.
Okay.
So yeah, so we still got a few weeks before registration is open. I just wanted to make sure the dates got out for planning purposes for players, and more importantly for college coaches. Everyone's in the middle of their season, so I don't want it to become a distraction. But it's important to get the dates out and circle the calendar, and then as we get closer to March, we'll definitely open up registration and get the ball rolling there.
Do you have any leaks that you want to give now as far as guests? Anything special that you're bringing that's added to what is already special, right? But any
Well, hopefully
marquee
you guys will be
coaches?
back. Hopefully you
Yeah.
guys will be back. All
Oh,
right. Yeah.
you know what,
So,
Coach?
so we also have the report done by Fleazy. He's a coach
Okay,
at Scottsdale Community College. He has a database of 1,200 college coaches. So he's coming to cover the showcase this year. So that's going to be pretty special. We partnered up in the after the last showcase, and he does a great job promoting basketball in Arizona. So I think we're going to get a lot more Arizona kids as well. But he has a ton of contacts, and he does write ups on the players. So there's going to be a lot more coverage. Prep Girls Hoops, Matt Martinez will be back, and he does stories on all the players as well. He covers the event. He does a great job. So, every year, just everything grows. The talent gets better. We get more college coaches. And, last year you guys came out, and we're just looking to continue to grow and make this thing special. The only thing that's not growing is the price. I always keep my price the same. So, I'm not
hey,
I'm not amping up the money. I just, I don't charge at the event to get in. I want people to come watch their kid for free. You go to these other tournaments, they're charging $25 a head. Just come watch some basketball for free. So I'm looking forward to another great showcase. I think the talent's going to be really good as well, and we're just going to keep the momentum going.
well, I appreciate the invitation. You can mark me down as we'll definitely be there. I We've grown a lot since then as far as even what we're able to do because now we used to be in a studio and now we're able to do this, which is a lot easier. We can zoom in on faces, but I have under one condition. I got one condition for you,
Okay.
Coach.
All
On your
right.
website, you got to put A Mountain Echo. I think it says Echo Mountain or something on there. So if you could
You
spell our
got it.
name right, you got it.
I'll make that happen. Throw me some graphics, and I'll make that happen for you. We'll
Yeah, I
jump
looked at
on
it. I was
that. We'll
like,
jump on
who?
that tomorrow.
We were looking. I was like, who in the world is Echo Mountain? What is going on here? But
I didn't
I
even
knew
see.
what you
I
meant.
wouldn't even know where that is. That must have been like immediately after, or before the last showcase. That will be fixed. I guarantee it.
Cool. I think we've covered everything. Final why. Actually, one last thing is you mentioned cost. If a girl was to say, "Hey," or a coach, we're having an issue with cost or whatever, do you work? Is there a place where people
Yeah, no,
can
yeah,
just reach
that
out to
that
you? Yeah.
we do have sponsors that
Okay.
sponsor some kids. We just don't make it public. They kind of
Okay.
want it to be anonymous, but we do have players that, because again, we don't want kid to lose out on an opportunity because parents can't afford. And
Sure.
so we have those every year, but we always have a couple sponsors that just say, hey, this if you got to help a kid out, let me know and we'll take care of that. So Ben Trujillo at State Farm is our one of our biggest sponsors. Ben takes care of us. The boys coach at Mayfield. He's been a huge sponsor from the get go. So I appreciate Ben and what he does. So he's helpful in that area as well.
Wonderful. Well, I'm excited to see you close out the season well, and we are very excited for Big Time Hoops, March 27 and 28. Thanks,
All right.
guys.
Appreciate you having me on and look forward to having you there again.